A top ANC source has revealed to ANN7 that the NEC has decided that President Jacob Zuma must step down. The source told ANN7 that it discussed a proposal by President Jacob Zuma wherein Zuma had agreed to resign but had requested to remain in office for a further 3 months. Zuma wanted to introduce Ramaphosa as the next president at the BRICS summit in July this year. The source also says the NEC thought this period would be too long and conveyed the same to Zuma. It was then said that President Zuma said that he would not resign. The source also told ANN7 that there's a likelihood of the top 6 calling on the president to apprise him of the NEC decision this morning. The 13-hour-long ANC-NEC meeting ended at 3 a.m. this morning, but no announcement had been made on the outcome of deliberations on President Zuma's future. It was reported that ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa and Secretary General Ace Magashule briefed the President of the Republic on the ANC-NEC view around 11 p.m. The two returned to the Tshwane Hotel where the NEC was meeting. There are various source-based reports claiming that a decision to recall the state president has been taken by the ANC's NEC, but there's no official word from the party yet.
13 hours later, the crucial ANC-NEC meeting has finally concluded. Now, the ball is in President Jacob Zuma's court as the time is ticking. As media reports say that President Jacob Zuma has been given 48 hours notice to either resign or be recalled by ANC. This is Keldon Omo for ANN7, St. George's Hotel, Irene.
Well, joining us now on the phone line to discuss this further and give some clarity and direction, political analyst Mr. Tsepo Kadima joins us on the phone line. Good morning to you, Mr. Kadima. Just talk us through your reaction to the latest developments around transition after this 13-hour meeting that concluded at 3 a.m. this morning.
Well, as South Africans, we live in very interesting times indeed, and interesting times in the idiom that is expressed in Chinese, that actually these are times of war. They are times of war. I think a number of things come to mind or are puzzling, that this was indeed a marathon meeting from 2 p.m. in the afternoon until 3 a.m. this morning. So the question that must be asked, what exactly was it they were discussing and what were they having difficulties in? From everything that has transpired so far, it is very apparent that the African National Congress National Executive Committee has not taken legal counsel. And if they have taken legal counsel, I doubt in terms of perhaps the quality of that legal counsel they would have taken, taking into account that their actions so far, they have not been able to explain how the legality of the action that they have taken in terms of discussing the to cause a vacancy to an office which they are not responsible for. I think there is this illusion and a fundamental error that the African National Congress or some within the ANC are beholden to, that the President of the Republic is a deployee of the African National Congress, and that is not true. One, in terms of our Constitution, and if a careful reading of Schedule 2 of the Constitution of the Republic clearly stipulates that once one is elected President of the Republic, the oath of office that they take, there is no mention whatsoever or provision for a political party to interfere. So therefore, the test of legality has not been met by the ANC-NEC in the deliberations that they have had, and it is very apparent that they have neither taken legal counsel on the action that they are taking. But even more puzzling would be, since this matter is of such grave importance to the nation and to the rule of law, and as we are a country that is still developing jurisprudence, particularly as a constitutional democracy, why have you not found it necessary to have their own action as well as that of Parliament to seek a declarata in the Constitutional Court on whether or not it is permissible for a political party to actually cause the office of president to be vacant? Why have they not done that? And I believe that the actions of the ANC-NEC have only plunge this country into a constitutional crisis, for it is not, their actions are not substantiated by any test of legality whatsoever.
Mr. Khadima, there was also source-based news that came to the fore this morning with regards to what took place in that meeting yesterday and what possibly President Jacob Zuma had to say. None of this confirmed as yet. We are awaiting that briefing by the ANC at 12 noon. But just your reaction to this. The news source says the NEC discussed a proposal by President Zuma in which he agreed to resign, but he requested to remain in office to enable him to introduce Ramaphosa as the next president at BRICS and AU summits. Your reaction to this news?
Well, I think if anything, it confirms once again why the African National Congress needed to have approached the Constitutional Court for clarity on this matter so that we can have certainty about the future and that this principle can consistently be applied. And that is, under what circumstances can the sitting head of state be caused to resign? And if they are caused to resign, can they themselves be party to any negotiations which can be nothing other than a backroom dealing? And what is the legality or the constitutionality thereof? So for even a president to have said, well, I will resign at the time and do such or make any deal whatsoever, as I make mention that in terms of the oath of office taken by the president, if any other party, and as the economic freedom fighters had already threatened last week of going to the Constitutional Court to put into question such negotiations as the so-called transition talks, that they will indeed have been found to have violated the Constitution, not only the African National Congress, but the President himself to have engaged in such negotiations. And any agreement that would emanate from such negotiations, my belief is that on the test of constitutionality would indeed be set aside and found to have been unlawful and invalid, as it would have violated the Constitution. Therefore, the inherent risk for President Zuma to be engaged in any negotiations of this kind is that should he resign on that basis, if any party takes him to court for having violated the Constitution, they would hold cause. The risk, of course, then to him would be that then there would be another motion under now Section 89 probably to have him declared to have seriously violated the Constitution and impeached and even lose the benefits. At this point in time, there can be nothing that President Zuma would have personally considered to have to coerce him into making a decision on whether to resign or not to resign. So if what we are hearing is true, that he has refused to resign is true, it is therefore a correct legal stance that he is taking, because to have to be forced into resigning as they are attempting to do so is nothing but the subversion of the Constitution. Hence my point that why did the African National Congress NEC find it so difficult to have to approach the Constitutional Court for clarity on this matter? Why the hurry? Hoekom hulle somar hastig?
Ek hoor jou. Dankie baie Mr. Khadima for your update and clarity on this issue. That was political analyst Tsepo Khadima joining us on the phone line, just providing some more views and context to this news that came in this morning regarding transition. But stay tuned to ANN7 as we continue to unpack and discuss this topic. But let's